You asked for a sign, and this podcast showed up. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe you're right where you're meant to be. Welcome to Finding Focus, a podcast for high achievers and deep feelers who've outgrown their old playbook and are ready to trust something wiser. I'm Kathleen Davenport, former military officer turned spiritual channel, and I'm here to help you navigate life's big transitions with clarity, humor, and a whole lot of heart. In each episode, we'll explore what it means to find focus, not by doing more, but by tuning in. You'll hear channeled wisdom, soul-stretching stories, and practical tools to help you align with your true path, even when everything's changing and maybe a little messy. So take a breath and settle in for some heartfelt stories and conversations. You're in the right place. Aloha and welcome. Today, I want to start with something I hear all the time from people. And that is, I think I'm intuitive, but I can't meditate. And it's usually followed by something like, I've tried. My mind won't quiet down. Or I can't sit still. So I must not be able to access that kind of higher guidance. Now, I get it, because I don't meditate in the traditional sense either. But here's the thing, that's not the problem. Meditation isn't the gateway to intuition and receiving higher guidance. It's one way in, but it's not the only way. And for a lot of people, it's not even the most effective way. Somewhere along the way, we picked up this idea that accessing intuition or higher guidance requires us to sit still, to clear out our mind completely, and almost disconnect from everything. And if you can't do that, then you must be blocked. But what I've seen over and over again, working with people and in my own life, is that most people are already intuitive. They're already receiving information. They just don't recognize it, or they don't trust it. And then they try to force themselves into a process that doesn't match how they naturally operate. And so they end up frustrated, again, with trying to receive higher guidance. But it's not because they're not intuitive, but because they're trying to access information in a way that doesn't work for them. Now, for most people, intuition shows up in the in-between moments. It's not when you're trying really hard to get an answer, but when you're not gripping so tightly, like in the shower or on a walk or driving, or even right before you fall asleep, or sometimes even when you wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. Those moments where your mind softens just enough and something drops in. Something like an idea or a knowing or a shift in perspective. That is not random. That's access. And that's what I call the space where clarity actually comes through. And it happens in the present moment, not in some perfectly controlled environment. So if it's already happening, why do people miss it? Well, because it doesn't always look the way they expect. We've been conditioned to think intuition should be this clear voice or something dramatic or undeniable. But most of the time, it's very, very subtle. And it's quick. And it comes through the way you're naturally wired. And this is the part that changes everything. Intuition doesn't come in one universal format. It comes through your natural patterns, how you think, how you process, and how you make decisions. So for some people, intuition comes fast. They get a quick hit, a clear knowing, and then immediately question it. For others, it comes through feeling. Something feels off or something feels right, but because they can't explain it, they don't trust it. And For those people who are more analytical, if it doesn't make logical sense right away, they dismiss the information completely. But listen, it's the same intuitive signal. It's just a different interpretation. It's a different level of trust. Now, when I left the military, I went through assessments that showed that I processed information really quickly, act faster than most people. At the time, I thought that was just training or an analytical ability that I had. But looking back now, I see it differently because what was actually happening was I was taking information in from multiple places, organizing it almost instantly, and landing on an answer before anyone else had even fully defined the problem. And for me, I didn't second guess it. I just knew. And now I understand that wasn't just logic for me. That was intuitive processing layered into how I naturally think. I I just didn't have the language for it at the time. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, especially people who are smart and capable and used to relying on logic. They think intuition and logic are separate, or worse, that intuition is maybe less reliable. But what I found is this: when you understand how your intuition actually works, how you actually receive information, it doesn't replace your thinking, it sharpens it. And it gives you access to information you wouldn't get through analysis alone. And so when logic and intuition work together, your decisions get cleaner, faster, and more aligned. So when someone says to me, I don't think I'm intuitive, what I hear is, I don't recognize how the information is showing up for me, or I don't trust what I'm getting. And that's the real issue. It's not about access, it's about recognizing what's coming through and trusting that information. Your intuition isn't the problem, it's understanding how you're wired to receive it. And that's really the missing piece. And when I started realizing this is exactly why I've been building what I'm working on now. Because most things out there, most intuitive development programs will teach you how to open your intuition, but very few teach you how to actually recognize it and work with it. That's about how to recognize it in real time and how to access it intentionally and how to trust it without overthinking. And most importantly, how to use your intuition and apply it in your actual life. Not just when you're sitting quietly, but when you're making decisions that matter. And that's where all of this really counts. When you're at a crossroads or when something feels off and you can't explain why, or when you're trying to decide what's next, that's when people either override what they're getting, the information's coming in, but they tend to hesitate. And so they stay stuck. And again, it's not because you're not having guidance coming in, it's just because people don't trust themselves with this information. So listen, you don't need to become someone else to access your intuition, and you don't need to force yourself into a process to receive higher guidance that doesn't fit you. And you don't need to sit still and clear your mind perfectly. You just need to understand how it already works for you. Because once you do, your focus starts getting clearer, your decisions get cleaner, and you start moving in a way that actually feels aligned with who you are. So now, if you've been listening to all of this and thinking, okay, this is exactly what I've been trying to figure out. I know I'm intuitive, but how do I trust what I'm getting? So if you've been thinking about this, then you might want to take a look at the private mentorship that I've been building around this. And it's called Applied Intuition. It's about developing your intuitive intelligence. And it's where I walk you through how to access, trust, and apply your intuition in a way that actually works for you. You can find the details on my website at KathleenDavenport.com. And listen, I just want to assure everyone that's listening that, yes, you do have intuitive abilities, and yes, you can access them and put them to work for you. You just need to understand a little bit more about how you're wired and how that information is coming through so that you can trust it and learn to work with it in your everyday life. Hey, listen, thanks for listening, and hugs and aloha. If this episode offered a new perspective or gave your heart a little nudge, I'd love for you to share it, subscribe, or leave a review. You never know who might need to hear what you just heard. And if you're craving deeper guidance, visit my website at KathleenDavenport.com for free resources or to book a private session. Until next time, remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to stay open to the guidance that's already reaching for you. Hugs and aloha.